Australia this morning. They've announced they'll increase their cap on the number of international people coming into their state. If asked so, would Queensland do the same? And do you have a number of how many people you'd
look, I think it's... look, I've actually been told some really concerning stories about people trapped, for example, in London. We've got an Agent General over there. She's been conveying to me people are camped out at airports. They don't know what's happening, the uncertainty. They want to get home to loved ones as well. Of course, we've seen increased numbers of COVID in the UK. We've seen 10,000 cases of COVID in France in one day. So we are seeing now countries having not just a second phase, but a third phase of COVID. I think it's imperative that we get back to Australia as many Australians as we possibly can. So there's a couple of things. The first thing is the federal government can utilise its aircraft to bring people back, and they can set up accommodation for that. And of course, I've said very clearly, I mentioned to the Deputy Prime Minister, that I would be more than happy to look at taking more Australians here where we have the capacity to do so, because I don't want families to be separated by very, very long distances overseas when they are isolated and when a lot of countries are still in lockdown. Let's not forget, COVID is not over. Everyone seems to think because we have zero here in Queensland, it's over. You look around the rest of the world. I mean, I saw footage the other night, I think it was on ABC News, where they are digging graves for bodies. This is heartbreaking. So we've got to look after people's health. My job is to make sure that Queenslanders are safe. The Chief Health Officer provides us with expert advice, and we will take that expert advice because we want to continue to see the great results we have here in Queensland. And that's why now we're able to focus on the economic recovery, as the Treasurer said.
Yesterday, the opposition said the Chief Health Officer is there to implement the policies of the government. Do you agree with that? And if so, why not allow more exemptions?
The Chief Health Officer is one of the most respected Chief Health Officers in the country. And this attacks on the Chief Health Officer has got to stop. I value her advice. I work with her very, very closely. And of course, we want to make sure that we can deal with issues as quickly as possible, and that's why we've actually increased the number of people into the exemptions unit, and we've put in place a specialist care unit as well in relation to hospitals across the border.
Is increasing the weekly number of people allowed to return from overseas to quarantine in Queensland something you're going to be looking at in the National Cabinet on Friday?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we need to do everything we possibly can as a nation, and I want to see Queenslanders come home as well. If they're trapped overseas, especially with the second and third waves that are happening, people are concerned about their lives, and I can understand that. We want everyone to be safe, and of course we will do whatever we can, but the federal government has resources as well. The states have had to do the heavy lifting. They have assisted with quarantine, with ADF, and I appreciate that. But there's a lot of resources that are needed, especially in making sure, especially with our police. Every time we put a new hotel up, there's extra police that are needed to look at those hotels as well. So, I'm quite sure that as a nation we can address these issues.